Guys, welcome back to Hike Oregon. In today's video, I'm going to be talking about my spine surgery that I had 1 year ago and how I've been recovering and still hiking and working out. If you are new here, welcome to the Hike Oregon family. I make hiking and backpacking vlogs as well as gear reviews and just general tips and tricks videos to help you become a more confident hiker and backpacker. If you enjoy content like that, click that red subscribe button and the notification bell so that you are notified every time I make a new video. And if you want more content from me, you can always support me over on Patreon, where for as little as just $1, you get extra content each month. Over on social media, I've been posting about my spinal surgery recovery for the past year, giving updates every so often. So over on Instagram, I did ask you guys last week if you had any questions now that I'm exactly 1 year post-op. So I'm going to answer your guys' questions in this video, but before I do that, I just wanted to give a quick rundown of the timeline and the history of my spine and how I got diagnosed and ended up needing spinal surgery. So I first started having pain in the spring of 2019. This pain was new to me. I've never really had back pain. I thought I had injured myself working out. So I took it easy for a while, but it didn't seem to really go away. It was just every once in a while there was a little bit of pain, especially when I was standing. Then in the summer of 2020, I had a pretty gnarly fall on my tailbone coming down from the summit of Mount McLaughlin. It was super intense, and after hearing my spine surgeon say that he found so many bone fragments and splinters in there, I can confidently say that I broke the little bones that attach your vertebrae. Basically, your vertebrae are like connected, like locked in with these little bones. Basically, it keeps your spine from like moving front and back. I basically shattered that on that hike. And so from then on, my back pain and symptoms of nerve issues got significantly worse. So after my fall, I did go to the doctor and said that I have been having some back pain. Now, I don't remember why they didn't want to do x-rays. That was a little strange to me, and I probably should have gotten x-rays at that point, but I didn't. And they just sent me to physical therapy. So I did physical therapy for probably about 9 months, and then the nerve pain was not getting any better, so the physical therapist suggested that I get imaging done. Because of the whole COVID thing, when like no one could go see any doctors and specialists and stuff, it got so backed up. So I actually made an appointment like in July or something with the spine specialist and didn't actually get to see them until November of 2021. So that is when I had all of my x-rays and MRI and stuff done and got to meet with the spine doctor. And he diagnosed me with spondylolisthesis. And that basically just means that you have slippage of the vertebrae. It can either slip forward or backward. Mine was slipping forward. My L5 was slipping forward over S1. So at this point, I had a 9mm slip of my L5 on my S1. Because my nerve pain was not constant, it was really only when I was standing. So if I was standing in place, like at the grocery store in line or something like that, it didn't feel great. Sometimes I would get like, my foot would go numb, but it wasn't super painful. It was more just like irritating. I could relieve a lot of my symptoms by like bending over. So the doctor said that it wasn't really something I should should worry about, and that my spondylolisthesis was stable. Basically, you could have stable or unstable spondylolisthesis. Unstable basically means that your vertebrae is moving every time you're moving, which is really not good. So because it was stable and I wasn't having a ton of symptoms, he's like, you know, nothing to worry about. You probably won't need surgery for like at least another 10 years. And I was like, cool, awesome. Thank you for the diagnosis. Good to go. The doctor recommended that I do go to a chiropractor. So I did start going to the chiropractor, and I went to the chiro for about 2 full years. And during those 2 years, my symptoms got a lot worse. So I was hiking a ton, I was backpacking a ton, and over time, my symptoms got horrendous. So by the end of 2022 and then going into 2023, I was in horrific pain. And 2023 was like just the year that it got so much worse, to the point where I like could not even stand up to make dinner. I had to like lean my elbows on the counter when I was chopping veggies and stuff like that for cooking. I could barely take my dog on a walk. Hiking hurt really bad. I couldn't even lay in bed without pain. The only thing that didn't hurt was sitting, so thank God, because I could sit down and still like do my job. Every other activity I was in excruciating pain by the end of 2023. And when I say pain, I mean nerve pain, which is to me is so different than regular like muscle pain or skin pain. Unless you've experienced it, it's really hard to explain, but it is excruciating. And when there's no reprieve, it is just so devastating. Being in that much constant pain really does start to affect your mental health. I was getting to a pretty dark place at that time. So in November of 2023, I did get my imaging redone. I had another set of x-rays and an MRI, and I went to go see another spine doctor. And by this point, my slippage had increased to 19 millimeters. So I went from 9-millimeter slip 2 years prior to now 19 millimeters. So as you can see from this picture, my spine is basically just falling off of itself, and my spondylolisthesis was now grade 3 and considered unstable. So not good at all. And I was getting to the point where my nerve issues were so bad, I no longer felt comfortable walking on the trail. I was just feeling really unstable. My foot would have issues like numbness and stuff like that, and so it was hard to walk. I would trip a lot. I was really worried about falling and hurting myself even more. And so the doctor who went over my x-rays basically said you should get surgery ASAP, otherwise your nerve issues could become permanent. So the longer that the nerves are compressed, the more likely it is that they will not heal once they become uncompressed. So you can have permanent nerve damage. Foot drop basically means that your foot doesn't really function anymore and it's just like kind of dragging, and that's from permanent nerve damage. So of course, I'm a hiking guidebook author. I'm freaking out and I'm like, okay, well, I don't want permanent nerve damage, but that is inevitable, so I have to get surgery. Basically, spinal fusion is the only option for this condition. So I met with 2 surgeons. One was a neurosurgeon and one was an orthopedic surgeon. And I liked the orthopedic surgeon better. His attitude about the surgery was just more chill. He just kind of made it seem like this is no big deal, you'll be totally fine. He knew about my hiking and stuff like that, and he's like, yeah, you'll be back on the trail in no time. Basically 6 weeks heal time, you're good to go. The other surgeon, the neurosurgeon, basically said you can't do anything for 3 months. So let's go with the guy who's telling me that I'll be right as rain at 6 weeks. So I went with him. His name is Blake Burkert, and unfortunately he did move when I was 3 months post-op. So he no longer works in the Eugene area, which is super sad because I feel like I could have sent a lot of patients his way because I loved him and he did a really, really, really good job fixing my back. By the time I had surgery, it was mid-April 2024. We did x-rays right before I had surgery, and by that point I was 21.9 millimeters slipped. So between November and April, I had slipped almost another 4 millimeters, which is crazy considering if I had waited much longer or if the process of getting my surgery booked and stuff had taken much longer, I could have been in a position where my vertebrae could have slipped all the way off, which at that point it's a whole nother surgery and it's a lot of screws also in the pelvis and stuff like that. Like, it's a whole nother thing. So I'm really thankful that everything happened very quickly and that I got to have surgery in April. So Dr. Burkert performed the PLIF surgery on me, which is posterior lumbar interbody fusion on L5-S1. And as you can see from these x-rays post-surgery, he used some really, really big screws. He basically screwed into L5 and S1, and then there's rods holding those together. And the goal is to have little to no movement so that the space in between can fuse. Okay, now that I have gone over what happened to me and kind of the timeline, I'm gonna go ahead and answer the questions that you guys had for me. The first one is, did you try conservative care such as chiropractic before choosing surgery? Yes, as I mentioned before, I had about 9 months of physical therapy and then my diagnosis, and then I had about 2 years of chiropractic care. So that's kind of the route that people go with spondylolisthesis, especially if it is considered stable. At first, they'll do PT to like strengthen the core and see like how your movement is and stuff like that, see if you're doing anything wrong. My insurance did not cover anything like lidocaine injections or steroid injections or anything like that. That is also generally a conservative option for pain management and nerve relief and stuff like that. Have you been taking any supplements to aid in healing? So I have been on a prenatal vitamins for like over 2 years now since I've been trying to conceive. So I'm like constantly on a prenatal that has like all kinds of, good stuff in it. Vitamin D, vitamin E, all the good stuff. But I did make sure to take extra vitamin D and also extra vitamin C on top of the prenatal during my first 3 months of healing. And I also tried really hard. I was pretty good about it for the first 3 months to drink a glass of milk every single day. Did you still have any pain post-surgery, and how long did it take to heal? So pain post-surgery, obviously there's the surgical pain. Like they're cutting your back open. It's gonna hurt. But I will say immediately after surgery, I had no more nerve pain. It was so amazing and I could stand up. Like I was standing post-surgery without pain. And then how long did it take to heal? So that is a great question, and I am part of a spondylolisthesis like Facebook group. All the people in there who had gotten surgery were like, yep, takes a year to heal, takes about a year to heal. And I just did not want to believe that. I was like, really, a year? Like that's insane, right? That's crazy. But now that I am 1 year post-op, I can confidently 100% say, yes, it does take about a year to fully feel like you've healed. I did not fully feel functional until about month 10 post-op. Now, I did start hiking 1 month post-op and hiked throughout my healing process. I also started going to the gym about 4 months post-op, but like I said, I did not feel fully functional and fully confident in my new back basically until about 10 months post-op. And that's really when I started ramping up my workouts at the gym again as well. If you suffered from any nerve numbness or pain, how long post-op until the nerves calmed down? So like I said, nerve pain was gone after surgery. However, I did have some nerve issues from them being compressed for so long. I did have foot issues. I was so terrified that I was gonna have foot drop. Like, my left foot really did not work very well at all right after surgery, and took many months, even well into PT, which was at month 3, to like gain the strength back, and I guess the nerves were still healing and all of that. It takes nerves a really long time to heal. So while I didn't have nerve pain, I did have nerve damage, and that took a while to heal. When I move my left foot, I still feel like there is some weakness there, and that probably comes from permanent nerve damage at this point. Can you bend, lift, and twist now? Absolutely. Like I said, bending is not great, but I do hinge. So like at the gym, you know, I do stuff where I hinge. I really try not to bend. Like I said, if there's something on the ground that I need to pick up, I do squat down. And then twisting, I mean, yeah, it feels pretty normal to twist, but that spot is fused, so I'm not obviously twisting that vertebrae. Everything that's twisting is above that segment. Lifting, yes. So I lift at the gym. I do weight training. Honestly, most exercises that I'm doing, I'm lifting much heavier than I ever have in my entire life. So yes, I can lift again. I obviously try to be smart about it, and I don't do certain exercises that would put a lot of strain on my spine. So I don't do things like weighted squats. That I've found feels scary and kind of uncomfortable to me, to have like the bar on my shoulders and to squat down. It feels fine to like do body weight squats, or even with like a 20-pound dumbbells or whatever, to have it on my shoulders. And squatting down is like just not really comfortable. I also try not to do deadlifts and stuff like that. Do you do any core exercises? I try to strengthen my core. I have a pretty strong core in general, just from weight training in general. Your core does get worked, but I do some core specific exercises as well. Planks are really great. There's a cool apparatus at the gym that has like this slider that you put your feet on the slider. Then there's like the apparatus at the gym where you like crunch but with weight, and that way you're not like on the floor, which is kind of nice. So I really like that kind of stuff. And the last question is, are you able to sit on an airplane for hours? So I will say sitting has been my least favorite thing since surgery. I do get very sore sitting. It's not painful because the pain I experienced before surgery was so intense that like nothing that I'm experiencing now I would even consider pain. It's just soreness, if you know what I mean. I don't think I'll ever get to the point where I'll feel like I didn't have back surgery. I can tell there's hardware in my back. I'm a pretty petite person. He used very big hardware in my back. Sometimes I feel like it's like rubbing the muscle. Like sometimes it can get pretty uncomfortable. And for some reason, when I am sedentary, on days that I don't go to the gym, maybe I'm just lounging around on the weekend or something, watching a movie, I do get sore. I just get achy. I think achy is a good word. So sitting for long periods is, well, it's not even long periods. If I sit for more than 2 hours, it's not great. So taking breaks from work is good. You know, I go outside, play with the dogs, do stuff around the house, you know, walk around. And then of course I go to the gym and stuff like that. Take the dogs for a walk, maybe walk on the treadmill, that kind of thing. Yeah, just getting up every few hours from work is helpful. As far as the airplane, I just went on a trip a few weeks ago, and yeah, the airplane seats are not comfortable. I don't know how I'll survive a flight that's more than 4 hours. Like I said, I'll just have to get up and walk around because yeah, wow, it's uncomfortable, like really uncomfortable. If you have the money, get first class seats or business class where the seats are just a little bit more cushy, or bring your own like seat cushion maybe, or a pillow or something that you can sit on to make yourself a little bit more comfortable. Yeah, sitting is not my friend, which, you know, is fine. Standing, walking, all those things feel awesome to me, and I'm so so grateful that I had the outcome that I did. I'm so thankful to Dr. Burkert for doing such an amazing job and for fixing my back. If you have any other questions about my surgery or recovery or anything like that, please comment down below. I'd be more than happy to answer any and all questions. If you don't already, go ahead and follow me over on Instagram. That's where I post all of my hiking and backpacking adventure pictures. And if you want to hike and backpack here in this amazing state of Oregon, check out my website, hikeoregon.net. And you'll find tons of hiking and backpacking information there, as well as seasonal updates and updates about my new hiking guidebook that is coming out very soon. Thank you so much for watching, and I will catch you on the next adventure.